Hello, welcome to a quick overview of the flooding system that's now in Lima. So as you can see, we've got a flood hazard down here, and that is activated the exact same way you activate any other hazard. So you right click, you see flood and spill here, but it's the same as placing down fire and smoke. Once you've placed it, it will start flooding out, and water will flow in the direction of the topography or the terrain. It will do this using the industry standard list flood algorithm, which we've worked with the university to implement. So if I zoom out here and I go down over here, this is the P factory that I used to work at before I worked at Lampada. And what's interesting about this factory is it's one of the biggest freezers in Europe, which means it's got quite a lot of refrigerants that are on site, and also at its peak production it uses about a third of Hull's water consumption just in this one facility alone. So let's put a quick example situation down where one of the refrigerant tanks has exploded, and for whatever reason the mains water supply has been exposed and is now flooding this site. So the most likely place that would happen would probably be around here. So I'll place a flood down here, and I'm going to put this on 16 times speed so you can see how quick this can go. So as you can see, the flood's starting to go out. The LiDAR data that we use actually uses what's called a DTM model, which means that houses are taken down to what their foundations are. So you can actually see how the entrance to this warehouse has started to flood itself, which if we were using just a simple LiDAR system, the buildings would actually completely stop the flood, which would be unrealistic. So we show more of a realistic model. There are different things that we can do with this flood. So you can see I can right click here. We open up an edit flood menu, and we can put a much higher rate of flow on this thing. As you can see, we're starting to increase how the water is flowing in here. And you can also see by the topography of the terrain that this site is actually put in an indent. Oh, and we've run out of water. So I'm going to add a lot more water in here because we're using the main supply. And I'm going to increase the flow rate. And you can see there that an actual wave is just started to propagate through here. So you can see that this site is fairly well secured from flooding just by these flood defences that are along this part of the site and along this area of the site here, and also the buildings. So let's put an area that is not as well flood defended. So let's, for instance, put one in the avenues. Just get my bearings. Okay. So here on Victoria Avenue, let's place a flood. It starts out with some water, and you can see how this is flowing quickly along the roads. Some other options that we have is the ability to change the transparency of the flood. So when this updates, you'll see it'll be max opacity, so you can't see the map below, and you can also make it incredibly transparent. This is just so that whenever you're using any other type of maps, you're able to see this quite clearly. We also have, as an option, lots of different colour maps that you can use to get better information. Unfortunately, my recording software won't show this drop down here, but you've got about 30 different options, so you've got plenty here to choose from, and they help you see more. You get more data from this flood model. So if I, for instance, put onto the jet colour, we can see a lot more clearly how deep the water is, the maximum depth here being about 1 meter, whereas these on the corners here, these are only a few centimeters depth. So it's actually going quite far here. and there's plenty of other options that are available to show different quality of data on the depth. And these are all standard colour maps which are used in data science, so they're tested with people with colour blindness. So whoever you're going to be showing this to will be able to see what's happening quite easily. But I'll just change it back to the blue. And that's everything. That's everything with this quick overview of the flooding system. Right, thank you for your time.